Yo, yo, yo.
Dude, I forgot
What's
to
up
look.
in the grapevine world?
I forgot to look at the whole intro.
You want me
I
to play it
was
again?
I was
You want me to play
trying
it
to
again?
play it
Yeah.
again.
Only because
Dude,
you asked.
I
Only
love
because
it.
you asked.
I love it. I'm on a budget over here on the Grapevine show, but
Yeah,
you
man.
pulling it
I
off.
had a little free time yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just toy around. I'm gonna dig into my creative magic over here and show some love to the beginning of the show.
That was awesome, bro.
So
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. You're welcome, bro. Yeah, I did just for you, bro, because it's you. That's
Dude,
all I'm saying.
I was busy trying to figure out how LinkedIn works. Microsoft is so friendly. I was trying to throw a little post in LinkedIn, and I'm like, dude, this thing is ridiculous. Where is
Yeah,
the add button?
I LinkedIn for me is a little weird. I
Right?
just don't get the vibe of LinkedIn. And Facebook is even a place where like, man, it's saturated. I guess is the best word I'm looking for to kind of explain it. It's like I could get bored in there now.
Yeah.
I find myself doom scrolling on TikTok randomly now, and that's a super bad habit to the point of like I've thought about like, man, I need to delete this app.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Instagram for me is just weird. Like I just don't get it. Like all the other apps, I can scroll, I can find, I can post, I know what I'm doing with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel like I'm 75 years old and I'm typing like this, like when I'm on Instagram, and I'm like, what
On
do I do
Instagram?
now?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I've tapped people's and there's like a heart, and I'm like, I didn't want to love that, like, oh crap, now I got somebody in another country who's like, you know, thinks I'm
Yeah.
in love with him, whatever.
Some guy in Bangladesh thinks you're liking, putting love signs on his videos.
That's right. It's weird.
So
All right.
we're streaming to Facebook,
I
Face
think
Plant.
so. I think so. So we use StreamYard, and some time ago they took away the easy button to stream to a Facebook group. You could stream to a Facebook page. There's other avenues, but this is a Facebook group, meaning I guess I should say that because this turns into a podcast. So there is a HVAC Grapevine group, right? And just for anybody listening, if you don't answer the questions, we will not let you in. It's just the rules.
Right.
Michael lays down the rules, and it's just too hard. People ask, and believe it or not, we just delete a lot of people. We just have
Yeah.
it's too hard to filter it when you're working to have to pay attention to that. So it's like literally we just look at the questions. If you answer them, you're pretty much in. You got to answer them to get in. So if you just
Yeah.
try to join, we usually don't accept. So because we ain't trying to blow it up and have like 50,000 people in a group and then it could just get watered down content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I think we're
there's
in
a
a good
place for
spot.
that. Yeah, we're in a good spot. We have a small group. If you want to get nerdy, it's a place you can absolutely ask a question and have someone give you an honest, good answer feedback. And of course, the bigger it gets, that becomes very difficult to manage.
Right.
So anyway, that's
You
just kind of
ask a
where it's at.
Yeah. You ask a question, you get a Jamoke answer, and it's like
Yeah.
55
Then it
TXV
spirals,
problems.
and then
Yeah.
and then before you know it, it's you're aggravated for even asking the question in there. So then you stop asking the question in there.
Yeah.
So we don't
But
we don't really
but
want
those are
that.
the guys that are in the Facebook group. Tell us what you want to see on the show, what you want to talk about. I think we should
Yeah.
have people from the
Or
Facebook group come on the show.
yeah, or come on the show, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not getting your question answered in the group, you should come on the show. and we'll
Come on
try
the
to
show,
answer it.
talk
Right.
about it. Little
All
coffee
right.
talk.
So let's get into some show topics, man. So
Yeah.
I don't think I've discussed this before on the show, but I kind of want to. Um, I'm not going to say I have a bad experience in this, but I have a decent little bit of experience in this. And we're talking about cash flow and managing a business. So this is going to go in a bunch of different rabbit holes. And I've even made notes for this show because I was like, I want
Oh,
to prep because it's hard to pull this stuff out of your head when you're just like talking about it completely. Like I
yeah.
don't want to go down a rabbit hole where it gets too far gone. So I'm gonna try to reel it in as we go through it. Right.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna.
So
I'm a one van man show, so you're
yeah.
gonna have to lead with that one.
So let me just, if you're watching, I just want to do a quick shout out before we get started. This one goes out to Doug Crawl. I'm in Doug Crawl's shirt tonight for a reason. That man helped me out with something. I cannot tell you what it is.
I got
Just know
Doug
that
over
he
here
did me
too,
a
man.
favor, and I'm wearing a shirt tonight as a thank you for that favor. So Doug knows who he is.
Dude, he's been around since what? 2020?
Yep, Doug's an OG.
2020 Symposium, yeah. Well, you probably knew him before that.
I don't think I did. I don't think I
Okay,
knew
so
him
right
before
around
the first
2020.
symposium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
4 to 5 years, man.
yeah.
He posted
Going
that
strong.
video. His last video was what? That duct tightness test he did. We got like negative
Yeah.
1 CFM.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Dude, that's impressive.
All right, my notes are not clean, so I'm just going to start somewhere and we're going to talk. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's hammer down. So we're talking about cash flow management, and if you've seen the title to this show, it says "Pay me now" or "Pay me later." Okay. And so the first thing you're probably thinking is, of course, if you collect up front, it's the right thing to do than collect later. And the biggest reason for that is scared of not receiving your funds. I mean, like if we're just going to break right into it,
Yeah.
obviously that's the fear. You know what I mean? But there's a whole lot of other things I think that should be thought about when you're talking about that. And I kind of want to dive through some of these rabbit holes. All right.
Yeah. Absolutely,
All right.
man.
So let's get into some notes. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is paperwork, right? And I want to talk about it from the aspect of the owner, and the aspect of the technician, and just give both sides of the story. Now, if you're a technician in the field and your company's got KPIs, which we'll get into later, you know, like they're tracking your progress. Uh, KPIs are key performance indicators, right? So you can set these up to be whatever you want them to be inside your business. If you got a pretty awesome bookkeeper with mad skills, you can do some wild stuff and see all kind of data. But if you're being tracked as a technician, and let's say you go to a warranty call, let's say you did an install, and then you're also going back to do that warranty call. And let's say that warranty is not something that was manufacturer driven, like leaking coil. Let's say the drain isn't draining right because it's not plumbed right. So you're trying to creatively write that ticket while it was warranty and trying to push it towards the equipment when it's maybe not the equipment. It really was an installation failure or whatever.
We're talking like first 12 months.
Yeah, you're trying to jazz up that ticket with good literature, right? Because
Gotcha.
you know you're being tracked and you don't want warranty work on your behalf because it's going to look bad on your KPI as you being tracked as a technician, right? So there's that side of a warranty. Adding into that service day, let's say you go to 2 other jobs that day that are successful, and it is up. And let's just say this company's flat rate, right?
Mhm.
Or time. I'm sorry. Let's do time material. Let's say it's time and material, meaning you are allowed to put the hours you want to where you want them to throughout the day, right? I know that sounds a little weird, but you can do it, right? That being said, a technician would probably be incentivized for their well-being to shift hours from the warranty work into the profitable work, right? And to make the hours spent on the warranty job less. Why? Because that looks like a less burden, right, in the tracking metric. And then the other
as a
jobs,
technician, you're trying to protect yourself to make it look like you're not
yes.
always doing warranty work,
Yeah, you're trying to make yourself look like a profit machine for the
like you're
company.
profitable. Yep. Yep.
So then you go to this other job throughout the day and you know what the allocated hours are for it. And so you know you're running lean, which means you may could put another hour over here and take it off of that over there. And you're thinking, perfect. This warranty job's going to look like we didn't spend hardly any money to knock it out. That job's going to look, normal instead of like overachiever, which is totally fine. And at the end of the day, that technician's going to look good into the tracking metric of the company, right?
Gotcha.
And we're
Okay.
talking time material game here.
I'm
And
following
so,
you.
all right, so knowing that situation, and nobody's super complaining about that, right? At the end of the day, the tech's happy, the business owner's happy, the books are what they are, and everything looks good. Okay. Now I'm an owner, okay, and let's just say I've got 30, 40 techs rolling, right? And this is business is booming, right? Just work, 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 work. And let's say work is maybe slowing down, or you're looking to invest and grow your warranty process offering to your base of clientele to draw more business for growth. That business owner would probably want to go pull the last, let's just say 4 or 5 years of warranty work and run a P&L, a profit and loss against it to see what it costs them to handle up on that level of warranty work.
Okay.
This is like when I was in the game, I would try to tell my team, hey guys, keep your hours where your hours are. Don't worry about shifting. I don't care about that, right? And the flip side of that is we didn't have performance metrics. We didn't get into it that far. So like we weren't trying to track performance to give you raises based on performance, stuff like that. We just didn't ever get to that level. So I was like, hey, I don't care if the warranty job takes 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever. It is what it is, listed on the ticket. I don't care. And the reason for that is I did increase our warranty offering when I was in the game. And I did historically look at my last 5 years of warranty, and we separated it, residential, commercial, and I looked at the warranty trend so I could change the offering. Now, here's the kicker. This is why you, as a tech and an owner, there needs to be super transparency, and the owner really needs to relay this information down properly. Because even though you say that to a tech, the tech's going to probably think, yeah, right. Like, yeah, show you my true day, right?
Right.
Because he knows he's kind of in competition internally, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
or against himself, against the company's challenge. But if he understood completely that the owner's trying to drive new business by change his warranty offering to the market, he needs a true number of warranty. And that true number of warranty is only going to come from quality data in. And if the data going in is not pure, clean data, then the warranty offering that you may run with for who knows how long in the future business could come back to bite you because you didn't put the right amount of money tied to that offering. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Or is that too super nerdy?
Well, I mean, bad data in, what does Jim Bergman say? Crappy data in, crappy data out.
Yeah. It's just like, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're a tech in the field, I guess you really know what the company's motives are. And if this is where you should go talk to the owner and say, hey, I want to have a real talk. Are we doing these metrics because you're going to change the business model? And, or are you literally watchdogging me? And they may not fess up to watchdogging you, but there needs to be, I like to think that most companies, if not all, are trying really hard to change their offering based on their tracking metrics rather than watchdogging their mechanics to try to, we live in the world of like, there's not enough techs in the world. I doubt we live in a world where you have to worry about being let go because you're doing warranty work too much or something like that. Like
Yeah.
There's not enough techs. I just
Yeah,
don't see
we
that being an
definitely
issue.
need more quality guys out there. Yeah.
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 Well, then let's talk about the other side of that. Let's say it is a situation where it's a lot of warranty stuff, and this isn't a point and finger game, but that metric would also let the owner know maybe who he needs to invest in for
Right.
training,
See,
right?
that's a good
And
point because
that's not
if
picking on people. That's
if
just
you're
like,
a
hey,
service guy and you're fluffing the paperwork, right? You're trying to
mhm,
make yourself look okay, like you're saying. But then that's taking a lot of the heat off of the installer. Am I saying that right?
say that again.
Well,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
saying
my brain was somewhere else.
warranty work, right? So
Yeah.
like you're saying a technician goes out and it's a warranty. Well, I might be thinking residential. Is that cool?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Right? So service tech goes out. It's really a warranty call, and it's on the installer, right? So you go, all right, I gotta look profitable. So I'm gonna say this 2-hour job's a 1-hour job, right? Because I
Mhm.
want to look good. I'm gonna move the hour over to my next service call. But then really, the company doesn't know that the installer is taking shortcuts. He's not doing drain line properly, whatever, right? So it's really like that metric, not putting that in there to make yourself look good, is telling the company, like the company owner might need to put some training into that guy or have a
Yeah.
talk.
Then you think about the other side of that
So
coin.
transparency is good.
Yeah. And then the job that you padded an hour onto, that job
Right.
now looks less profitable. And
True.
so the owner may be thinking, man, we need to go up on our prices because that job doesn't make what we need it to make.
Right.
So then
Right.
you could end up changing the business model twice, right? Both not good because the
Right.
numbers don't jive. So it's as a tech, man, you got to put in clean data.
Got to be ethical, man.
Unless your boss
'Cause-
ain't ethical, and then keep playing the game dirty. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do.
You heard it on the grapevine.
I'm just saying. Look, not pointing fingers, but if somebody's out there trying to screw you, screw them back. You know?
Oh
I
man,
guess,
that's
I
so
don't
funny.
know.
That's funny. But yeah, like if you think about it, I mean, maybe the installer needs some more training. Yeah. And yeah, I've known installers, man, that could have used like a good talking to a few times on quality.
Here's what I'm going to polish that off with, man. If you're still doing time and material residentially, I would say stop because this is like going to flat rate pricing fixes this problem, right? It
Yeah.
is what it is at that point. And then it reminds me of like when I did work for plants. Plants would have an established repair budget, an established replacement budget, and that's the way it was. They didn't segue.
Okay.
And for the longest time, I used to get so frustrated because I would fix a unit to death and back, and we'd spend like 20 grand on it. I'm like, this is a mistake. Like we should have already replaced this thing, and that's really frustrating. Later on in life, I kind of get it now more because I'm like, maybe it's a data driven thing for them, right? Like they have to just like while this one job and the price of this job is 20 grand, the size of this company is, multi millions. Let's just say it's $300 million operation. The data that they're trying to get needs to be pure. And so if they're crossing lines, passing money back and forth, the data is not clean. And so why it doesn't make sense to me as in the $20,000 repair range, the data is not pure going up the food chain. And when you have that many people and that big of an operation, some decisions are going to lose money, but it's the purity of the data that comes back, I think, that matters.
Yeah.
Anyway, residentially, flat rate, 100% the way to go. That's all I'm saying. That's my opinion, but that's what I say. Because then your data is your data, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, capital budgets versus operational budgets. Dave knows. He works in
Dave
New Orleans,
knows.
man. He's a local.
Are you
to me.
serious?
Yeah, that's why it
Oh
says
my
Dave
God, dude!
Brunson,
I was just
NOLA.
talking to somebody. Who was it? Adam McCoy?
Yep.
We're just gonna call this the Louisiana.
We should call it the Louisiana
Grapevine.
show, man. Dude,
Yeah, I'm just a
Are we-
guest.
Louisiana people. I raised my kids' cup to my Louisiana people.
My goodness, dude! Like no joke. There's like 80% of Louisiana is inside the Grapevine.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm an odd man out.
All right, let me see where I was going with that.
We're gonna have Gambit on the show next week.
So
He gonna talk
there's
Creole.
so let's circle back to collecting money up front, right? That's not such an easy decision, right? Let's say you are flat rate, which I love the idea of flat rate residential and collecting money up front every chance you can. There's so many
I did
upsides
both.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did both. Yeah,
It's just first off, if you can collect up front, the bookkeeper, their workload's going to go down, right?
Yeah,
They don't mind. the
and why
work
not?
of-
Right?
Yeah, why not? Well,
Why
hear me
not?
out. If a bookkeeper has to take your invoice, put it away, there's a paper trail. There's work in the computer, and then it's stashed away, and you're opening up a more of a gap in your bookkeeping. Okay, and there's kind of like two sets of accounts. There is the accrual, which is what you don't have but you build, you expect it to come in, and debts also attached to that. Like this is what we should have, but we don't have it because our paperwork trail is kind of on an invoicing game.
Right.
And then there is actual accounting, or some people call cash accounting, which is like, this is what we have in the bank right now, and this is the debts we've paid. It doesn't look into the future, right? And anytime you can get more of your debts and receivables done to where you have it all and you've handled up on all of that, you can make better decisions because you just know, right? The funds are there. They're not projected funds. It's just a better way to play life if you can. That is not very possible for anybody like doing commercial, because most of your commercial clientele will never write you checks.
Right.
It's an invoicing game. You have contracts, so
Invoicing
you can't do like actual accounting with big business. They just don't play the game that way. They don't push money around like that. But residentially, there's no reason it shouldn't work that way.
Yeah, residentially, you got to get that money before you leave.
You got to, man.
And what I learned, which was it was a real big eye opener from a big corporate company that I worked for, was if you're on, let's say, a service call, right? So it needs a capacitor. It could use a coil clean. Let's say the contactor's a little fuzzy, right? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you go to the homeowner and you go, hey, capacitor's bad. If you want to do the coil cleaning, you want to do this, it's all up front. It's like, talk to them up front. And I use that in my business. I would get them the pre-sign, right? Can you authorize this for me? And, it's kind of like, I don't know. It felt like they brought a lot of commercial into that. Like you get pre-authorization, even though it's a residential job, And that was really big. Getting up front, like what you're going to do. And there's no problems later.
Yeah.
Right? Talk about it up front.
It's the technician definitely wants a way to say to a homeowner, this is what I'm going to charge you. Do you approve or do you not approve? Because I really don't want to deal with this on the back end, and you don't like the price, because that is the number one most uncomfortable feeling as a technician in the field, is doing work and then having to collect, and there was no set price, and now here we are, and now I'm the person staring you in the face having to collect for what I just did.
Yeah.
That's like the worst of all worst. That nobody likes
front.
that.
It's just, and I've adopted that into my own business, and it helps. It really helps. Get it out in front. Oh, you don't want to do the capacitor? Okay, that's great. I'll leave.
Well, flat rate should come with that too. I don't know how.
And that was flat rate. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say most flat rate probably works that way. I would think it works that way, right?
Flat rate.
Maybe there's another flat rate that doesn't work that way, like a flat rate pricing game, but that's the way I think they all work. I think. Now here's an idea. Techs don't like collecting money, straight up, like that. That's out of all the things techs do, let's just say if it come down to having to be on call for the weekend once a month or collect money on a job, the worst is collect money on the job. Like that's the one they don't want to do, right? If it was a trade
It's
off
like
of
this,
what's worse,
like they're shy
was
or
worse.
something, you know? It's like,
Well, it's uncomfortable, like having to collect. You're taking someone's. It's not like there's a business who's paying this debt, right? It's someone's hard-earned money coming out of their personal bank account saying, "I didn't really budget this, and here it is."
yeah.
And dang it,
Well,
I hope I don't ever see you again. But thanks. Like it's
yeah.
uncomfortable.
Well, if you would
And
like to get a paycheck on Friday, might want to collect that friggin' money.
easier said than done, though, man. You got to remember, like some people just don't like that stuff. But let's just say that's the business model, right? So
Yeah.
if you're an owner, here's an idea. Okay. And what if you were to incentivize that collection? And here's what I mean by that. If you invoice a customer and then that bill goes back to the office, there's work that has to be done,
Yeah.
right? If you've collected that debt, the work on the office staff is a little bit more cumbersome, not too much more cumbersome, but it's less. If they get an invoice and a check, it's like, oh, nice. They love that. They're like, sweet, I'm gonna enter this and then I'm gonna
Yeah.
close it out. We're done here, right? They love that. The minute they get an invoice, now it's a paper trail. Now they're waiting
Yep.
on it. It sits in this folder. Can't move it to that folder until it gets to here. And if you roll over, I hope it's not with the end of the year or a quarter where they're trying to shift between projections of between accrual
And they might
and
not
actual
pay,
because
man.
now they got to pull this out or push it forward or whatever. There's some of that goes down.
They might stiff
But
you.
lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, sorry. Incentivizing.
Incentivize. Yeah.
So if a tech is to collect on site, maybe it would be worth asking yourself, how much does it take me paying my clerical time to handle up on this situation? And we're not talking about a ton of money, but just maybe a few bucks, whatever. What if I give that to my technician for collecting on site? I
Dude,
mean,
that's
cash in hand is more powerful than invoiced cash waiting on it. It could be the same money, but the risk. Think about this. If he collects on site, the risk of not capturing that money goes away.
right.
And what is that worth to you as a business owner to have cash in hand and have the fear of loss of that money going away
Right.
and the clerical time going away of dealing with it? Is that worth incentivizing the tech to do collection on site? And now I'm going to even throw another idea on there and say if that really works, and this is another KPI metric, right, that I didn't get into, but people do, right? There's the whole like branding of the company, Google reviews, that whole thing, right? I never played that game, but it's out there. You could also incentivize the tech to take a double whammy at it. You could say, I'll incentivize you to collect, and I'll even raise the bar if you can get customer reviews out of the client. And if you get both, well, you get double incentivized. Company's going to get what it wants. It's going to get money in hand, and it's going to get reviews, which is going to help build the reputation of the company. The double whammy, man. What's that worth to you as a company owner? That's what
Right.
I'm asking.
Dude, reviews are huge, man. I mean, to get a good review, it goes a long way. Like especially Google reviews.
You could,
My
I'm just
buddy's
saying,
company.
you could
If somebody says they're going to do a bad review, he's like, "Wait a minute, what do you need? I'll send 5 vans out there."
now just to say this, you can't pay. I don't know who told me this, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I think it is. You can't pay somebody to give you a review like on Google. Like if it's a paid review, that's supposedly like really frowned upon. I guess I don't know if it's illegal, but maybe it's really frowned upon. And I don't think anybody wants to pay anybody for that anyway, but anyway.
Gotcha. Well, there goes all my reviews.
All right. So
I've done some pro bono work for a review. I have done that. I'm like, you know what?
yeah,
Forget
I
about
think
it.
that's
Just
okay.
throw me a review. How's that? I did a load count for a guy. He was like an hour away from me.
I think that's super more than fair. I mean, I think you lost on that deal. You know?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking about changing my system out. I'd leave you a hell of a review for that if you want to come on up. You know.
Working for reviews over here.
All right.
Yeah, it's hard, man, when your demographics like 80-year-old ladies that don't even know how to work an iPhone. Yeah, I live in a retirement community, you know.
I will say, I think, and there's maybe cleaner ways to do it, but I remember it being a little challenging to collect, right? They have like Square and these other little things you could run a credit card on or whatever. It's annoying. It's annoying, right?
Yeah.
Techs don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's be straight up. Techs don't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that, and I'd want to be incentivized if I had to do it. You know, like that'd be cool if I was incentivized. I'd be more inclined to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
people are paying with a little less with checks. I've noticed in the last year or two. People want to pay Zelle. You know.
Yeah. If you're watching the show and you want to chat, I'd be curious to hear what you use for a metric of payment. If like you got something you really, really like and it's easy, I'd like to hear about that. Unless it's like Bitcoin. I don't really want to see that in the chat. Dude, unless you got a lot of Bitcoin and you've cashed it in to make yourself a millionaire. I do want to hear that story if you're out there.
Yeah, if you're Bitcoin mining, you know, hit us up.
All right, man. Here's a I'm gonna turn the gear for you. Ready?
Pay me now, pay me later.
You know how people always say cash is king?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like the most commonest saying, right? Cash is king.
Yeah.
Cash is king. So, do you know why they say cash is king?
I don't know, man. Why do they say that?
Because, and I've learned this through a lot of my clients when I used to do their work. I used to do very wealthy clients, and they would always tell me cash is king. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand. You know, it's like cash is king because you have a lot of it. Got it. Right? Cash is king. Understood. I learned that, and this is like going to go into the second rule. Second rule. Try to always play with the bank's money, right? And I for the longest time, I couldn't understand this. I'm like, wait a minute. If you have a lot of money in the bank, why wouldn't you handle the cash flow problem with your own money versus going to the bank and paying interest on that? And they'd say, ooh, you never want to touch your cash. You go to the bank and use the bank's money. I'm like, yeah, but you're going to pay a note on that. You're going to pay debt, right? There's an interest rate to that money. There, you know, and they go, yeah, but it's the bank's money. And so I'm paying a minimal fee to use the bank's money for operation capital. And I learned later on in life, I finally understood what they meant. When you're going to take a big plunge for growth, you always want to have cash on hand in case there's a discrepancy where you can't tap into the bank's resources. And so if you're going to go, let's just say, I'll throw a hypothetical situation out there. Let's just say you want to bring on, just say you've landed this business that you can pretty much bank on, it's guaranteed, and you foresee more growth of business. And let's just say your finances are okay, but the bank's like, you're using the bank line of credit to operate your cash flow. And you're at a point where you can't spend more money. You're basically taking a slight risk. And the bank's like, hey, we're tapped out on risk. We're not going to go any more risk. We're not going to extend your line of credit for more money to go buy vans and all this stuff. If you have your own money tied up in the cash flow, you maybe could then go take out the bank's line of credit. And if you have an established line of credit, they'd probably give it to you. If you have not established a line of credit, they may not give it to you. You have to go explain yourself because you're borrowing money. So let's just say you don't have it explained. Well, if you see this opportunity, you can't go grab it. What does that mean? That means you have to, that means it would have been wise to run on the bank's money to handle your cash flow. And when you see the opportunity for growth, that's when you plunge your own money to it because you don't have to explain yourself, right? And you don't have to worry about nobody giving it to you. You can take that opportunity for growth. And then once it grows, it pays itself off. Everything goes back to the bank line of credit and you run the same game. So that is literally why they call cash is king. Cash is king because you don't have to explain yourself. Opportunity for growth comes and it's too risky for the bank. You have the money to go for it because you're operating on the bank's money already for the typical cash flow.
That makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, so it looks like you've got money in the business account. It doesn't look like your business broke, right?
Yeah.
and you are borrowing, but you're using it for trucks and
Well,
resources. Okay, that
I'll
makes
even take
sense.
let's go one bigger. What if
I'm liking that.
somebody says, "Hey," what if your competitor goes, "Hey, I want out. I want you to buy me up. I'll give you a good deal, but it's a lot of money." The bank might be like, "Nah, we're not taking that risk," right? Maybe
Right.
they don't see it, right? And the bank's like, we can't stretch out that far. That's when you're going to want to use your own money if you got
Right.
it, right? If you're willing
Yep.
to take that risk, which that's a business decision. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
Mike.
Cash is king. I always thought, because if somebody wants to pay you under the table, no invoice. That's, New York,
I mean, there's definitely a side of that. I don't know if we could talk about it on the show.
But
You know,
that's little, like you're talking big business. That's, buying
yeah, we're
companies out. That's cool. I like that one.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
fun one.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right,
Yeah, man.
I'm going back to my notes because now I've done ran it out, man. I got to remember what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Adam's in the chat. Adam McCoy. I was talking to him earlier about his system in his house. Man, we got to have him on the show one day here.
Yeah, we need to drag him in. Talk about his
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, he ran a True Flow grid report on it. He got some. I talked to him earlier. He said he got some Govies.
Oh yeah,
And yeah, he's working it, man. He's gonna come on one day, man. But
I'd like to hear that story. We
yeah,
talked
man.
once about his duct leakage,
Yeah, yeah.
and how he
Yeah, I
found
forgot
it.
what he had. I think he had he's got 2,500 square foot home. Little
Probably a
oversized. I did a
Dude,
load calc.
He's got a mansion, bro. Dude owns a golf course. He's so rich. He knows all about this cash is king game.
That's why he was telling me he was watering a golf course. I was like, what he's watering a golf course? I was like, is he messing with me? He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm out here watering the I was like, what? But yeah, man, there's a lot of things. Next show I want to talk about installers. The respect for the installers needs to come up.
Okay. Well, we
Yeah.
need to pull some installers on the show.
I know. There's not a lot. We got to get some installers coming in. Maybe we'll have. If you're an installer, throw it in the chat. Let us know. What was the
All
other
right.
thing I wanted to talk about? I forgot.
I don't know, but I'll just read my last note. And
What
I
you
wanted
got?
to, I kind of feel like I've been one sided this whole conversation. So I'm going to flip the script. You ready? I had a really good CPA when we were in business. And my CPA told me, this is one piece of advice he told me. He said, whoever does your books should not pick up the phone.
Right?
Basically, he's like, you don't want your bookkeeper talking to your customer because they're pissed about the bill. He's like, shouldn't be one and the same person. He's like, that should never exist because your bookkeeper knows everything about that job, meaning they know the profit,
Right.
right? They know everything. They know how much it costs. They know how much they can discount it down without giving away the farm. And typically that person has not to say this is all about having a big heart, but they're like, oh, I could give away this much money and I'm still going to make this and blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to get this person off the phone because they want to go back to their daily grind. Right. Well, at the same time, the sales manager probably wouldn't give away nearly as much. Right. They would talk to them, figure out, they would negotiate, play that role. And so we should ask ourselves and say, if a bookkeeper shouldn't be talking to someone about the money and there's a mediator person in between,
Right.
and we're willing to do that for the bookkeeper, then why are we trying to make technicians collect the money?
Oh.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I've been conditioned, man. Always collect that money, man. Florida, man.
Yeah,
Too many transients.
I just collected too. I mean, I just was, I don't know. My personality, I never
That's
had
a
an
good
issue
point,
with it.
though, man.
I just did it.
Yeah.
I never felt weird or uncomfortable about it. But I've always worked for small business, right?
Yeah.
Even before I was in business, I worked for small business, and
Yeah.
there was an understood leeway. You know what I mean? You understood what you could get away with, what you couldn't get away with. So there was leniency.
But you're right, man.
There was
A lot
also
of
like
technicians
for most
don't
of my
like to
life
collect.
there was no metrics for most of my life. Yeah.
A lot of guys
All right.
have problems collecting. No, you're right, man.
So that's my story, bro. That's my pay me now, pay me later summarization, shall we call
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
incentivizing the technicians to collect. I mean, that's pretty big, man.
I
Dude,
mean,
if you don't collect, once you leave, once the van goes down the block, the odds of that getting, I mean, in my mind, it's just,
I think it depends on the clientele.
yes.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that's definitely a different strokes for different folks type of conversation. Some
Yeah.
people have just a solid book of clientele who
Yeah.
will pay anything. You know what I'm saying? They just pay, no issues.
Yeah.
And then there's businesses who maybe do, this. I would think the problem gets worse as you get bigger, 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 and then your clientele base
Yeah.
isn't that core set of customers who just like love you to death. Right.
Right.
Some of these clients don't even know you,
They
or
don't
know
know
the
you.
business.
Yep.
They just know the name and that's it. They have, and
Yeah.
then so that could get a little bit, sideways.
Our trade it's pretty vast, man. We got a lot of guys, little companies, big companies.
Yeah.
And like you said, demographics, where you live, it's so different across the states, bro.
The only part I haven't worked out in that formula is the time it takes to collect. Right? There's just more minutes into
Yeah.
the service call when you have to now collect on that service call. And that's the problem I think that I haven't quite figured out as the new idea, shall we call it? If you incentivize them to collect and then collection takes 20 minutes or so or longer, what do you do then? Because now it's like,
Right.
I guess you got to do the whole thing and run it out on the back end and see if there's a savings there to be had. If
Right.
someone does this, please, I would love to hear feedback to see if you did it, ran the numbers.
Yeah.
If
Or
you,
if you're doing it already, hit us up.
yeah, come on the show and talk about it. I'd
Yeah.
like to hear how that works out. I'd
Yeah.
like to hear how you analyze your internal side of your business and see how your cost savings played out and how you factored that in. That would be interesting to me. I dig that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you go into the weeds on the metrics.
I don't know, man. It's fascinating if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's just, when you stop
Yeah.
and look at how much money, like if you have, let's say if you have 16 technicians rolling around, right?
Yeah.
Working the daily grind. I
Yep.
mean, the push and pull of money it gets way up there. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking, you're billing out 200, maybe 200 some $1,000 every month, right? Your insurance is being paid out. You're probably paying a $40,000 insurance bill. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
lot of money that flows back and forth. It's wild.
It is. It's crazy. That one company I was working for, they didn't even have they did their own car insurance. Forgot what it was called.
What?
Yeah, they didn't even have like
Self-insured car insurance?
self-insured. Yeah,
Never heard of that.
I got into an accident. They fined me $500.
So what you're saying is they don't have any car insurance.
Yeah, self-insured. Yeah,
That's awesome.
crazy. Yeah, some wild stuff out there, man. It
All right.
really is.
So look, man. Let's get into some fun chat.
Let's do
Word
it.
on the street is you're headed to the summit.
Going to the summit, baby. I got to book a ticket, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm driving 9 hours, man.
Yeah. You got
So
book an airline
you're going to
ticket.
be there, right?
I will be there. I
What
will
you
be at
doing?
the summit. I will have I'll have a booth, of course.
Okay.
So I got booth duty, which I
Booth?
enjoy, honestly. I freaking love running a booth. Like
Okay.
I didn't grow up on this side of the table.
Right.
Obviously, you know me. You've known me for years.
Yeah.
Going from the tech who always wanted to like talk to, the manufacturers to then going to work for the manufacturer and then getting to talk to the techs who that they're ready to pick your brain. It's a freaking blast. Like
It's cool,
I'm
right?
telling you, dude, it's a hell of a fun job. Like I could tell, like some people in other booths, I can read between the lines a little bit. Like I read people pretty well.
Yeah.
And I could tell there's this feeling of like, man, I've done this for 20 years and it's going to be the same story, same this, same that way, blah, blah, blah. Not me, dude. It's like a whole new run on life. You know what I
That's
mean?
cool.
And it's like they come up to ask questions. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, let's talk about it. You know?
Y-
Uh,
You and
I
Dad
guess I'm,
started when you were 20, right? 18 or 20?
I started straight out of high school.
Oh,
So,
dude. Yeah.
I
You were
mean, I went from high school to trade school. And when I
okay.
say I started, I skipped my summer break after graduation. I went from graduation to summer school because
Okay.
I was able to get into trade school in the summer before the actual regular season started. So it was like a 2.5 year course, and I get in early. So I plowed right in, and then I was also working in the field uh, while I was in school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
yeah,
geez.
that's
I
all I've
mean,
ever known.
yeah. Coming on the other side, like on the tool side, it's pretty wild, man.
It's wild,
Um,
man. And I get the curiosity. You know what I'm saying? I know how fast the field is,
yeah.
and it's I've talked about this many times, but when you're in the field, sometimes you don't get to dive deep. There's no time for it. You're
Yeah.
like, unless you're going to stay up at night and dig deep, there's
Yeah.
no time to dig that deep. And
You
then when
get
you have a family with kids
right.
and you got baseball and blah blah blah, you can forget it. You're
Yeah.
not diving deep anymore unless you really really dive deep, and
Yep.
that can then start to affect like your home life if you go too
Yeah.
far with it. And so like when you can get the knowledge
I've been
directly,
there.
right? Like when you don't have to go through the channels to get it and you can see somebody in person and say, I would like to know this. And then you know that person has the answer. And I'll just be straight up. The only reason I know the answer is probably because I've been trained by the team who's built the products, right?
Yeah.
Like I know firsthand. It's like I have the knowledge from them and I'm just the segue. It's nice to be able to deliver that answer and you get to watch that person go, oh, that's what it is. And you realize
Yeah.
that they now don't have to run around for, 2 hours of research the next night to get that answer because you just had it, you gave it to them, they were like, now I have solved, it's like that puzzle piece. It's like it's in there now. Yes, and I got it quickly.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a fun feeling.
It's cool, man. I'd like to do a little bit more teaching,
Yeah,
getting it into a little bit of like small sessions around local. But I mean, it's really it's really fun, man. It's cool
it
stuff.
is.
Seeing the guys, aha moments. It's really really awesome. But yeah,
I
Adam
get
hit me
to
up, and Adam was like, "Dude, come to the summit." He's working with NCI now, and A Team Adam from Overtime.
I will
And
see Adam tomorrow. So
oh, nice.
me and Adam are doing a teaching training together this week in Ohio. And so
Okay,
that's going to be a ton of fun.
what's the class called?
It's all about airflow. It's basically an air upgrade class like we talked about last week,
Oh,
but
okay.
this is a custom class that
Okay,
was
cool.
requested. And so,
So,
yeah,
like a local company ask you to just do like a little training.
big company.
Big
It's
company.
actually two companies combined, and
Oh
they have a
wow.
whole lab and everything. And so we're going up
What?
there to do a specific airflow, full blown out custom training.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
cool.
yeah,
That's cool.
so we're going up there to do that together.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That is
that's going to be
awesome.
a ton of fun. And we've put
Yeah,
in. I'm gonna tell you, we put in a lot of work for this one. Like
that's cool.
this is my first big hammer down with Adam. And so me and Adam, every time me and Adam talk, we're like, dude, we gotta go big. We gotta go big. And so like we've probably spent 2 weeks working on the material for this class before the class kicks off. And like he's brainstorming. He's like, hey, what if we do this? What if we do that? So like you probably think that when training happens, they show up, they do the training, it's just basic stuff, boom, they run through it, they're gone. No, I bet you more times than not, uh, if you're hiring Adam and them to do a training, their head is spinning around how they're going to do it, what they're going to do it, what they're going to bring. I mean, there's a lot
Gotcha.
that's involved before like that goes and gets kicked off.
Yeah.
And I like we, and Adam's still kind of new to NCI too. and I mean, to a certain extent, I'm new to TEC, right? And so, like, for us to go do this training, we want to knock it out the park. Why?
Yeah.
Because you just want, like, you want these people to leave, and we don't want the reputation of, like, oh, that was a good class, but I don't know if I learned anything. Like, I want to,
Yeah.
like, do this training and be like, you leave and you will be trained when you leave, because it
Yeah.
will not be put on the street that you don't know when we're done. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you just want to, like, lay it down hard. And so,
Yeah, you want the guys to get it. You want them to get something out of it,
yeah,
which is cool.
you want them to leave, and the last thing I'm gonna tell you, if on my
Yeah.
headstone, I'm that guy where people go, oh yeah, I've heard it before, but like I don't want to be that. I want people to leave and be like, holy, you know what, like
Yeah.
crap, like I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's who I want to die as. And
'Cause
so
when I was young in the trade, man, trying to get info, it was
Thank you,
tough,
bud.
man. It was really hard, dude. It was really hard. And if you leaned on your fellow technician too much, or you like leaned on the guy that's been there for a while, then he starts saying stuff, to supervisor or, your manager. I think he calls me too much. He don't know what he's doing. You got to be careful.
yeah,
You got to be careful.
Yeah,
That's
I hear
why,
that.
like HVAC school and all that material that's out there, people like Ty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome, dude.
So here's what we do, man. We're gonna answer Adam McCoy's question, and then we're gonna probably close show. You ready?
Yeah,
Let's see
man.
what he's got. He said, "So here is an issue to consider with what is that? Incentivizing collections.
Incentivizing.
What happens when one guy works all of those first-time customers calls versus the tech on the rental properties? Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. That's a good one.
You got to set
don't
it
know.
up to where it's not it doesn't look bad if you're not collecting on site. So maybe just more of like a little bit of a bonus thing.
Well, what if? Okay, I'll throw this out there as it's an easy out answer, right? What if you do it how some restaurants do tips? It's a pool, right? And everybody's got to work in as a team. Everybody does it. Everybody wins. And then at the end of pay period, whatever, you split it up accordingly to everybody who's playing the game.
Yeah.
That's food for thought. I mean, that's an easy answer rather
Yeah.
than giving
And
you
it's
like
not
a
a
more in-depth
negative
answer.
if you don't collect, right? It's just a
Yeah.
positive, right? So like
It's
when I
just-
worked
yeah.
at the AC company that was a big company, if I got to let's say I resubscribed a maintenance customer, right? It's the second visit. You get like, I forgot, it's been a while, man. It's been years. It was like $5, right? You collect
Yeah.
the next year's subscription of maintenance for like a 2 visit. You get a little slap, So something like that. You collect on site. You write on your paperwork because it was all commissions at the company. I wrote collect $2, collect $5, whatever the company wants to.
Hey,
throw.
dude, it adds up. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
right? If you
It
get
adds
all
up.
CODs, hey, there you go. That's cool.
Boom.
It would flip the script, I think you're onto something. You flip the script instead of guys. If you know your guys are shy, throw that out. $4, $5, whatever's comfortable.